Mayor John Erickson was elected to the West Hollywood City Council in 2020. His legislative priorities include affordable housing, public health, arts advocacy, pedestrian safety, environmental sustainability, and LGBTQ rights, and is currently the Vice President of Public Relations at Planned Parenthood Los Angeles. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, hell yeah. Where does the money for roads come from?
Taxes. And when you look at West Hollywood and our kind of budget in that way, we have our transit occupancy tax. So we have a lot of hotels in West Hollywood. So that goes to our general fund, and then, and then you have sales tax, property taxes, and the other types of things that make up, the bucket of money that we use to then pay for the roads. And so that's where it comes from.
So when taxes get sent to the government at all its different levels, do you get cut a check from the government then?
We get it back on the sales tax, when transactions are processed.
From local transactions.
Yes, local transactions.
And that gets funneled directly to your budget.
Yes, it gets sent, the city manages all of it, and then we continue to use it to invest back into our community.
Well, how do you figure out your budget?
Well, budget is a statement of priorities. So we just approved our budget at our last meeting. So it's July now, right here when we're taping this. And so we approved our budget where we have a $31 million surplus, which is really uncommon.
I saw that.
Yeah. And it's really important because we've been, I think, not only recovering from COVID faster, but people are coming to West Hollywood because they want to be here. And we're seeing it not only with Pride, Halloween, everything that we do. And so we're, I believe, the only West Side city that actually has a budget surplus. And that's because our incredible businesses are doing great work. Our city's really managed our money really well for a long time with our rainy day funds. We didn't have to lay off a single employee during COVID, which is really important to me as a union member, former union member, and also someone that loves our city staff. And so our budget, focused on keeping, our city safe, public safety, arts, development, roads, sidewalks, trees, parks. I mean, the best things about local government is where we put our money.
Do you think that there's too much cynicism around politics?
I think that politicians invite their own cynicism. I think that so my grandmother taught me to never lie. She was like, if you don't lie, you have nothing to worry about, right? And so I just really have carried that around with me. And it's like a part of my personality.
Yeah, I'm very honest too, but I still lie.
Oh, you do?
You don't lie?
I mean like a white lie.
That's a lie.
What?
To say that you don't lie. As an honest person, I have to say that I lie.
So here's you're complete. So I have to say that, of course, like, how do you tell the truth 100% of the time, right? Like, is there a white lie? Is there other stuff? I've participated in that, right? But I think when it comes down to like looking someone square in the face and telling them like the truth, what the deal is,
what's going to get done,
like what's going to happen, is it going to be good, is it going to be bad? Like, I think if we started doing that more, people would start believing in government a little bit more.
So you think the cynicism comes from politicians shaking hands with their constituents and saying it's going to be one way.
Something completely different.
I mean, I even saw that, not to air out their dirty laundry, and I don't know the specifics of it, but I was at a city council meeting in Irvine where they had a asphalt company that was pumping out toxic fumes. And the mayor ran on the agenda that she would get it to stop. And then once she got elected, she said it wasn't within her power to stop it because of whatever, government regulations or business protections they had. And the community was righteously pissed. And kids were coming in there talking about getting bloody noses and headaches when they're at school. I mean, it was really hard stuff to hear and moving that these kids were standing up for themselves. But I felt betrayed by her. I don't even live there. But is how much of what she was... Should I give her the benefit of the doubt and think that she's doing the best she can, or should I be pissed and hold her feet to the fire?
You should talk to her.
And find out.
You should find out and ask her.
Yeah, I should.
I mean, I think that's the answer, right? Like, I truly believe when people come to me and they're like, what's a good example? Someone will come to me and they'll be like, what do you think about this? And I'll just tell them what I think, right? And I'll say, I'm going to say what I said to you. I'm going to say it at the council meeting, right? So that you're not hearing two different stories. Mm-hmm. Because I just think that, like, when that's a lot of energy.
Are you afraid of your constituents?
No. They're characters, but they're not scary.
I've been to some of your meetings before.
You're the best part of our meetings.
So oftentimes at city council meetings, I've seen mayors from all sorts of cities just get blasted from their constituents. I mean, when it comes to public comment, we're actually amongst the lighter commentary. You guys get real direct attacks. How does that feel when people you're trying to help are just yelling at you?
I mean, I think the best part of our meetings is when the public can just come and talk to us in the first part of it, and they can say whatever they want. Public comment was described to me when I was an intern, because I was really kind of new to what local government was and how it really was being worked out. And someone said, for the first 20 minutes, someone could come and talk about whatever they want for 20 minutes.
And sometimes they do.
For 2 minutes, yeah, and sometimes they do. And I remember the example was, someone can come talk about little green aliens and like how they were abducted the last night. Or like a tree falling down. It doesn't matter. They just get up there and speak for 2 minutes.
I saw you getting blasted at the last meeting for essentially not being gay enough.
Yeah. You know, there's one in every bunch.
But I must imagine, growing up, you were like, I don't think anyone's ever going to attack me for not being gay enough.
I really have to up my game. You know, I'm trying to figure out how I can become gayer, just to make sure these constituents who are very worried about my gaydom, my gayness.
When did you come out?
I came out my sophomore year of college.
Nice.
Yeah.
How did it feel to you when you did it?
It was always scary. I mean, coming out, like, even in a family like my own, which is extremely supportive of who I am and I think who I always was, it's scary because it's, you know,
you get rejected
by your family. And so when I did it, I remember it was like this moment that I felt stable enough. I had my own apartment, you know, I was doing everything myself. So if the worst happened, I would be okay. But, you know, I think at the end of the day, for me, it was just something I couldn't not say anymore. And so I came out to my family.
What do you think is the best part about being gay?
You're just fabulous in every shape and every form.
That's the best part? Is being fabulous?
Am I supposed to say, like, having sex with men?
Yeah, it is kind of a stupid question.
Are you straight?
Yeah, okay. I guess. Yeah.
I guess? Is that like is it your...
If it's like a continuum, on the Kinsey scale, I'm just down to fuck. But I think... but so ask me the best part about being straight.
What's the best part of being straight?
Call of Duty. Do you get annoyed by the grandstanding that happens between politicians when they're in council or when they're across each other in congressional meetings and stuff?
We all do it. We're all, you know, at the end of the day, grandstanding in some way because we care about the issues that we really...
And that's just part of it. There's the performance of the issue too.
Yeah, I think so. I think when you're deeply advocating for an issue, you perform in a way so that way people can understand your passion.
And did you have to realize at some point that if I don't perform my belief in this issue, I might not be able to make it happen?
I don't think it's if you perform your belief in the issue. I think people can tell if you don't believe in the actual issue.
Yeah, I guess I've just seen people who genuinely believed in what they were talking about, but couldn't talk about it in a way that was as compelling as their opposition.
Yeah, I think that happens with a lot of issues that are maybe sometimes unpopular. You know, I mean, let's just look at like LGBTQ equality in the city. Like, you know, 1984, were people out there like talking and advocating for all the stuff we're talking about today? No, because it wasn't popular at the time. But I think that didn't stop people from advocating for a community that, you know, educating people on changing hearts and minds. And I think, if you want to call it grandstanding, but saying like, this is what we believe in and getting other people to believe in it as well.
Yeah.
You're your own preacher for your own cause.
You have to be.
You have to be.
That's the job. That's filling out the suit.
I think you have, if you're not going to get up in that proverbial pulpit and shout from the rooftops about what you believe in and why, like why would anyone ever want to vote for you or believe in you?
And why are you a politician?
And why are you a politician? Or why do you even want to do the job? Like if you're just there to like, I don't know.
Be a sourpuss.
Yeah.
You can't really do that. That bums me out in politics that you just can't be a boring sourpuss.
Well, some are.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's why George Will said Richard Nixon was ill-suited for politics, is because he didn't like people.
You kind of got to like people.
It's part of the gig, right?
It is.
And our great politicians, like Bill Clinton, people like that, they have a certain charisma when they're around people that allows them to facilitate their agenda.
Well, you have to like people because you want to help people. I mean, that's the job itself. It's a calling. It's a duty, right? It's an oath you take to your constituents.
What's the best thing you've done as mayor?
Oh my goodness. I honestly think the minimum wage is something that I am extremely proud of. You know, I
mean, it's the highest minimum wage in the country.
It's not just that, right? It's historic, personal, it's vacation and sick time as well. When you think about having the ability to still get sick on your job at an hourly rate and not lose it, or take a vacation. It's all accrued, of course, like a normal job would be if you're salaried. But I think when I think about the minimum wage, it goes back to a long time ago when I worked at the city. And I remember a year later, the city council didn't raise the minimum wage to $15. And it was something that I'll never forget. I remember sitting in that meeting, not understanding why they didn't do it. You know, big business interests just kind of won the day in that way. And I remember looking at my former partner at the time who was like, really, like over 30 cents? Like do people know what it's like to make $15 an hour? And I promised him right then and there that if I ever got elected, I would do something about it.
Why are there so many Russians in West Hollywood?
It's a big part of our community and how we were founded. We were founded in 1984, so the city is actually a year older than I am. It turns 40 this November. And so we were formed by Russian and Ukrainian immigrants from the USSR, renters, LGBTQ people, because we're an unincorporated LA County. And so there is and was, at that point, there was a very large population of Russian immigrants or Russian-speaking immigrants. And so they all were here with us, and they were big advocates for our city to become incorporated, and they're still such a bright part of who we are as a city and our fabric as our core values.
If Fyodor Dostoevsky was alive today, do you think he'd hang out at the Abbey?
I think he'd probably go to High Tops.
High Tops is more of a sporty bar.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I just always pictured him as more of an athletic guy.
Interesting. West Hollywood.
Great, best city ever.
Why?
I think West Hollywood is my favorite city because we are a mixture of everything. I think when you think about fun nightlife, you think about West Hollywood. When you think about the LGBTQ community, you think about West Hollywood. When you think about like where we're going to go to protest when stuff happens, like I remember like from 2016 to 2020, like every protest was happening like...
It's kind of the tip of the spear
The tip of the spear right here. And it's also because we've created a space for people, I think, to fully understand that they can protest, they can be here, they can be who they are, and just fully
They feel protected and served by the government.
Yeah, yeah.
Is West Hollywood the best gay city in America?
Yes, I think so.
Better than P-Town?
Better than P-Town, yes.
Why?
Well, because I think when it comes to, who we are as a city, our history, our makeup, we're here all year round, right?
P-Town's older, right?
P-Town is older. I don't know the governmental makeup of Provincetown, and so I don't know if they have their own city council. I should probably know this.
Oh, okay. So is this the largest, like, primarily gay community that has its own mayor?
Yeah.
So that's what makes West Hollywood the best.
I think it's what makes it the best, but I think also when you come in, when you cross our streets that bring you into West Hollywood, you know, from La Brea to Doheny to Melrose to Sunset, you know when you're in West Hollywood.
So can you rank the best primarily gay communities in the United States of America?
Oh yeah. So I think West Hollywood. I'll throw it up to my other California city, you know, San Francisco. I think when you look at like Miami, South Beach.
Keep cooking.
Provincetown, of course. The West Village, New York City. It's an incredible place.
I like that top five.
Top five is a good top five?
I think that was good.
Can I throw in another one?
Go, keep moving.
I love Madison, Wisconsin, because I'm from Wisconsin.
Oh, nice.
And it's very underrated. And Trixie Mattel's from there, so you can't really go wrong.
And doesn't get mentioned as much. Is that Trixie Mattel behind you?
That is not. That is Ivy Bottini.
Well, you know, you take a shot. Why is Ivy Bottini in your office?
Ivy Bottini was a dear friend, a mentor, and when I first ran for office, it was, you know, COVID in 2020, and she supported me. And I've known her through my work at the National Organization for Women, where I serve on the board. And she's just someone that, when you look at LGBTQ history, is like right at the top.
Nice. Can you talk about the Saddle Ranch's contribution to American culture?
Cotton Candy, the bull, and obviously the Sex and the City episode.
Yes. Sex and the City. Who's your favorite of Carrie's boyfriends?
I loved Aiden.
Nah, he was whack.
He was whack? Well, he was whack in the original series.
Oh, in the movie and in the new one?
Well, the new.
No,
the
we're not even
movies-
talking about the new one.
Okay, so back the old one.
Yeah, we're only doing canon.
Well, then you have
don't
to.
even talk about that new bullshit.
Are we allowed to say Chris North anymore? Are we allowed to say Mr. Big?
I think we can say Mr. Big if we keep it separate from the person.
Yeah, Mr. Big.
Also wrong.
Who's yours?
Burger.
Oh no.
Yes.
He broke up with her on a Post-it.
He ended poorly, but during their good ep, he was awesome.
Was he?
Fun, thoughtful, creative. I really dug him.
Wait, are you a Sex and the City super fan?
I go pretty deep.
Okay. What's your favorite season?
I don't know it like that
Okay.
though. But I do it more through the boyfriends.
Okay,
Probably because
so-
I'm a misogynist. The LA Sheriff's Department has a notorious history of gang affiliation within its membership. Does that history affect your relationship with them as the primary law enforcement provider in West Hollywood?
We want to ensure that there are no gangs in any of our stations. I actually, 2 or 3 years ago, we did an audit. I don't remember the actual, what we called the item, but we wanted to look into were there deputy gangs at our sheriff's station, because that's a serious accusation, and we know it's out there, right? We know it's happening. Because there was a whistleblower that went to the LA Times about something going on, and so we really looked into it as a city, because that's a serious accusation.
No, it feels about as serious as it gets.
Yes. Currently, our sheriff, Robert Luna, is working really hard to weed out that type of serious corruption that's going on.
And they might have been isolated incidents. It might not be a systemic issue.
I think it's a systemic issue still. I think that we need to still be working to make sure that there is no gangs in any matter of policing.
But actively you think there are?
I do, because there's researched evidence out there right now.
What do you think are the macro factors for why Donald Trump is the next president?
Well, I'm going to work like hell to make sure Donald Trump isn't our next president. But I think if you look at the ways that he's been allowed to succeed, he's a rich, privileged white man who's never been told no his entire life.
But it must be more complicated than that, because he's doing well with bases that don't represent that.
Well, he's doing well with bases that I think find a grievance with government in whatever way. I mean, you look at how government can be used for people, which I think is what we do in local government a lot of the times, streets, trees, sidewalks. And then I think you find other issues as you get bigger, right? And government can be seen as being used against someone. And, a lot of people don't like government telling them what to do. But I think when it comes down to an issue of equality and making sure everyone just lives their full and happiest lives, I think that's where we start seeing the differences come out with what's at stake and who's really on the ballot.
Do you work at Planned Parenthood?
I do.
What do you do for Planned
So
Parenthood?
I'm the Vice President of Public Affairs, Communications, and Marketing.
And what does that entail?
What does that entail? So I work a lot with local governments, elected leaders, policy making. So when you look at right now, the world that we're in, we have a hostile Supreme Court that likes to play politics with people's lives and, deny care for services for people wanting to come to California to get a procedure that might be denied in their own state. And so how do we create better laws and policies and education and advocacy around making sure that anyone that comes through our doors, no matter where they are, who they are, can get full access to healthcare.
What is religion?
What is religion? Religion is a group of people that I think come together on a set of common beliefs and sometimes meet within four walls on a Sunday. But I pray to God, and however we like to define that.
What is God?
So God to me is something that is deeply personal. And I think God is something and someone maybe that reflects, I think, the goodness you want to see in the world. And it can be an entity, it can be a feeling, it can be a belief system, but I think it's a deeply personal question. And as a gay person, it's hard to understand religion and God sometimes. And I think for me, God is just a moral set of beliefs that make our world a better place.
Nice. What religious traditions are represented in West Hollywood?
Well, we have a large, probably multi-faith religion. So we have Christians, we have Catholics. For only 1.9 square miles, we have 2 Catholic churches. We have a synagogue, Kol Ami, which is an amazing place of worship. And then we probably have a lot of agnostics here that, found West Hollywood because maybe they were shunned from their communities for being LGBTQ or having a different set of beliefs. And they came here and they formed what, we now see as West Hollywood being the eclectic city that we are.
Do the Catholic churches in West Hollywood carry the same church's perspective on gay marriage?
It's interesting because I go to a church here in West Hollywood. I go to St. Victor's and I'm fully out, and I'm accepted and loved there. And I actually met the Pope last year. I flew to Rome and was able to meet him. And, he said that the church, Big C Church, the thing that we've been doing wrong so long is not loving unconditionally. And so I think West Hollywood and our religious faiths try to, embody that a lot of the times.
Do you like Pope Francis?
I love Pope Francis. I think he's a very good pope, and we have to keep him around for as long as we can.
Well, yeah, because it seemed like when they appointed him, it was for a change in direction.
Yeah. And I think a drastic change in direction. You had two popes alive at the same time then.
Well, yeah, because Benedict was the first one to step down while he was still alive in centuries.
Yeah, a long time.
Pope Francis recently got in trouble for using an anti-LGBTQ comment
Yes.
During a private meeting.
Yes.
Why do you think Italian culture is so homophobic but gay at the same time?
I can't really speak about Italian culture in that way. I'm not an Italian culture expert. But as you said earlier, I think everyone asks for forgiveness. And as someone who I think deeply believes that the Pope is trying to do the right thing, I mean, who knows why he said it?
So show me what you do, not what you say.
Yeah, I mean, show me what you're doing through your actions. I mean, there's a great documentary about Pope Francis that my friend Yevgeny did that really showed that during the pandemic, he was paying for like food and shelter for transgender sex workers in Rome. And like the Pope, the Catholic Pope was doing that and no one knew about it. Like, that's pretty incredible.
No, and especially when you think about it in relation to the previous Catholic kind of regimes.
Yeah.
I mean, what a leap.
It's a
Does
leap.
it make you emotional to think about how much more progressive the church has gotten?
It makes me hopeful. It really does. And I think that as a gay Catholic myself, I'm really happy that I was able to go meet Pope Francis as a representative of West Hollywood and be fully who I was. Like, I didn't have to hide my identity. I didn't have to hide where I worked. Like, he got my full bio, and read it. And I was able to present him with a city flag and a proclamation and just thank him for, I guess, giving me faith again. I'll send you the photo of me and the Pope.
Can I ask you one really hard question before we cut?
Sure.
Yeah. Do you have a perspective on transgender athletes in sports?
I think that individuals that are working as hard as they are to play in whatever sport they identify on, they should be able to play in that sport.
Yeah. It's hard for me. I think I don't know if I've ever said this publicly, and I hate to. Well, do you think it makes someone transphobic if they disagree with that?
I believe gender is a construct. I think that when we're looking at transgender athletes, we need to be supporting individuals even at a younger age so we don't create sex or gender into boxes that people live in. And, why are we having these conversations when people are, 16, 17, 18, or even older, right? Like, shouldn't we be working so kids feel comfortable in their bodies early on? And I think, I think a lot of stuff is done through education and advocacy.
But can't you do both?
Do what?
Can't you make sure that there's like a smoother exploration, understanding, and like a community for young trans people, but also keep sports as fair as possible based off competitive advantages that could come from your given birthplace?
Well, I've seen a lot of athletes, no matter how they identify, being very good. There's a lot of female cisgendered or female identified individuals that play a lot of sports that are a lot better than I could ever be in any of these sports. And I think that it's sports. People are having fun and people are playing competitively. I'm all for it.
Right. Fair enough.
I don't think you're a transphobe.
No, I know it's a hard one because it's one of the.
But you're not coming at it from a hostile place, though. Some people like Drag Queen Story Hour. Like, they're just like, I don't want, they say these horrible things, right? That are just like, wow, malice. And like, why don't you want to go better understand things from like a perspective of like coming into the community and being a part of it?
No, it literally pains me to be on, but who cares about my pain? It's marginal in comparison to the pain most people feel all the time. But I almost wish I could make a mental switch, and maybe I could, but there's something in me that's like, no, it's just not quite fair. But I know people have different priorities on what fairness is being kind of supported.
Yeah.
Do you have like a moment that you've had with like a citizen that really sticks out to you as a time where you felt connected to your base here?
Yeah, when I first got elected, I met an individual who was hesitant to get the vaccine, the COVID vaccine, right? Not because they had any issues with the vaccine per se, but when society tells you not to go within 6 feet of each other, you kind of get scared of letting people near you. And so I worked with our providers here in West Hollywood, and we got her one of those mobile testing sites that they actually came to your house, and they came to her house and gave her a vaccine. And she was able to then come out on a walk with me, like I think after the second dose, like 3 or so weeks later, and she's a dear friend to this day.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I was about to make a bunch of crude jokes and then I passed.
What do you mean?
No, I used to have this stand-up joke about that people say chivalry's dead, but if a girl eats my butt, I always take her to a musical.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it is nice, right?